Hello friends, welcome to lecture number 10. In today's lecture, we will focus on the application of Gauss law. Basically, there are three applications. We will read one by one. The first one is to find the electric field due to an infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. Okay, so you see here the pink color wire which you have shown in this diagram is your infinitely long straight charged wire. Okay, so we can have this infinitely long thin straight wire has a uniform linear charge density as lambda. Okay, then we have chosen a Gaussian surface. This is our Gaussian surface, and here the Gaussian surface which we have chosen is a cylinder, and this cylinder has a length L. Okay, so this is the Gaussian surface which we have chosen, and these blue color lines are your electric field. Okay, uniform electric field. And why are these directions? How can you decide? Because plus charge is there in the wire. Okay, now from Gauss law, what we have, we know that integration E dot ds is equals to total charge divided by epsilon naught. So how can I calculate the total charge inside the Gaussian surface? Then charge will be lambda into length of the cylinder is L by epsilon naught. So let us give this as equation number 1. Now what I will do, I will show three different regions in this Gaussian surface. Let this be region 1, let this be region 2, and let this be region 3. These are the three regions of the Gaussian surface of the cylinder. So I take an area vector here, and what will be the direction of n cap? Direction of the vector, area vector, it will be outward, upward like this. And in the region 2, if I want to find out an area for this one, what should be the n cap direction? Along the electric field. And for the third one, if I choose an area here, then your n cap will be along this. Okay, so these are the directions of the area vectors which I have chosen in three different regions. Okay, now this integration E dot ds over the closed loop can be written into three parts. There will be E dot ds integration in the first region plus integration E dot ds in region 2 plus integration E dot ds in region 3. So these are the three regions. Okay, now I'll see in the first region this one goes to 0 and the third one goes to 0. Why is it so? Because in first and third region, since in first and third region what you find, your n cap is perpendicular to electric field. So theta will be how much? 90 degree. If theta is 90 degree, what is cos 90? Cos 90 will be how much? It will be 0. So therefore first region and third region will not contribute. Coming to the second region, in the second region n cap and E vector are parallel. Okay, if it is parallel, that means theta is equal to how much? 0 degree. So cos 0 is how much? 1. So this is only, the second region will only contribute. So what I can write is integration over the closed loop E dot ds is basically integration E ds cos theta for the second region, because first and third will not contribute, and cos theta is 1. So electric field along the Gaussian surface is constant, so it will come out. So in E will come out integration ds. So let us give it as equation 2. So if you look to equation 1 and equation 2, the left hand side is equal, so the right hand sides can be equated. If you equate it, what will have? It will have integration E integration ds is equals to lambda L by epsilon naught. E into what will be your integration of ds? It will be 2 pi r is the radius of the cylinder into L which we have taken, lambda L by epsilon naught. So L gets cancelled out. E will be how much? It will be lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught into R. Okay. So this is the expression for the electric field. Is it clear? From this, what conclusion can we make? E is inversely proportional to R. Followed? So this is the first application for the Gauss law. Moving to the second application. The second one is to find out the electric field due to a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Sheet means the paper which you see. This plane sheet is containing positive charges for which the electric field is shown in the blue color line. And here the Gaussian surface which we have chosen, this is the Gaussian surface, it is a pillbox. It is the shape of a pillbox. Here also we will take three different regions. Let this be the first region, let this one be the second one, let this one be the third region. In this region, if I take my n cap will be along the electric field. Okay, so if I take the n cap here, it will be n cap in this direction, and here if I take, then it will be perpendicular, and we know if it is perpendicular, then it is not going to contribute as in the previous case. Okay, so let us assume here sigma as the uniform surface charge density of the sheet. Sigma is the uniform charge density of the sheet. Okay, so from Gauss law, what we have? From Gauss law, we have integration E dot ds is equals to total charge enclosed by epsilon naught. So total charge enclosed will be sigma into A is the area of the sheet divided by epsilon naught. This is equation number 1. Now again we will try to find out the closed integration E dot ds. There will be three regions as we have already told in the previous derivation also we have done. This is for region 1, for region 2 and for region 3. And we very well know that if it is perpendicular, n cap is perpendicular to the electric field, then that portion is not going to contribute. So this portion will not contribute, will go to 0. So what is left out for me? E dot ds, and the angles are 0 degree. Here theta is how much? 0 degree. Here also theta is 0 degree. So cos 0 is 1. So E is the electric field which is going to be constant throughout the Gaussian surface. So that can be taken out of the integration. Integration ds plus E into integration of ds. So ds integration is nothing but area. So EA plus EA. Okay. So that will be 2 times of EA. So let it be equation number 2. So now if you see equation 1 and 2, the left hand sides are equal. So equating 1 and 2, what we have? We will have 2 EA is equals to sigma A by epsilon naught. So A gets cancelled out. E will be equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Okay, so this is the electric field, right? Now if you want to go for vectorially, their E vector will be equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught and n cap. Okay, where n cap is the unit vector normal to the plane and going away from it. So this is the vectorial representation. So this is how you can derive for the uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Then moving to the third application. In the third application, we'll find the electric field due to a uniformly charged thin spherical cell. Here we will take a thin spherical cell and we'll try to find out the electric field. So the pink color which I have drawn is the uniform spherical cell. To this I have given a charge plus Q, for which the charge is uniformly distributed over the spherical cell. The spherical cell is having a radius capital R, and sigma is what? Sigma will be your uniform surface charge density. Surface charge density. Okay, and the spherical cell is having the radius capital R. So the Gaussian surface which we have chosen is the Gaussian surface which is a sphere in this case. So this has to be solved in an appropriate manner. So what we do here is at point P we take a very small area, the n cap will be along the electric field direction. Okay, and we will have here three different regions we will have. Let us go to the first region. Here we will find out the field outside the cell. One will be outside the cell, on the cell, and inside the cell. So these are the three different regions at which we have to find out the electric field. Okay, so integration E dot ds will be equal to q by epsilon naught, and E dot product means what? You will have E ds and cos 0 degree. Why? Because n cap and E are in the same direction, is equals to q by epsilon naught, and integration sign will be there. Electric field is constant, that will come out. Integration ds cos 0 is 1, q by epsilon naught. So what will be ds then? 4 pi. E will be equal E into integration ds will be 4 pi small r square, because this is the Gaussian surface, q by epsilon naught. Okay, so what will be the electric field? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square. So this is the expression for the field outside the cell. Now what happens when we are going to consider inside the cell? In the second one, if it is on the spherical cell, field on the spherical cell, So if it is on the spherical cell, then what will happen? Your small r will be equal to capital R. Okay, small r will be capital R in this case. So what will be the electric field then? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by capital R square. Okay, so this will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Instead of q, what I can write is sigma into area, that will be 4 pi capital R square, and here R square. So R square get cancelled out, 4 pi gone. So you are left out with sigma by epsilon naught. So field on the spherical cell is going to be sigma by E will be equal to sigma by epsilon naught. Okay, this is for field on the spherical cell. Okay, now if we go for the third region, in the third one, if you will go, that is field inside the spherical cell. Here inside the spherical cell, is there any charge? No charge is present inside the spherical cell, that is q is equals to 0. So if q is equals to 0, then what will be the electric field? Yes, you are correct, your electric field is going to be 0 in this case. Okay, so apart from these three different regions, another question comes with this. This spherical cell comes as a long question for 5 marks. Along with these three derivations, there comes that you have to draw a graph, you have to plot a graph. So what plot you have to do? That radius versus electric field graph. Now you see, inside the spherical cell, the value is going to be 0, and it is 0 up to how much? Up to capital R. And on the boundary, what is its value? Its value on the boundary is sigma by epsilon naught. So this is sigma by epsilon naught. So once it increases, it falls down in this manner. Okay, so basically the graph for electric field and the radius will be 0 till capital R. On the surface it is sigma by epsilon naught, and after that it falls as 1 by R square. Okay, so I can differentiate this into three different regions. I can write when r is small r is less than capital R, then the electric field is 0, E is equals to 0. The second thing from the graph what I can infer is when r is equals to capital R, then E is equals to sigma by epsilon naught. The third one, when r is greater than capital R, then your electric field is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into q by r square, or it implies E is inversely proportional to 1 by r square. So these are the three applications for the Gauss law which is important from the exam point of view. First two is for 3 marks. The last derivation for spherical cell, it comes for 5 marks along with the graph. Okay, any queries you have, you can just email me in the mail ID which is shown below. So this is it for today's class. Thank you.